Okay, as I'm recording this, it's between a day-night doubleheader between the Phillies and the Cardinals. But there was something that happened in the game one, which the Phillies won 2-1, that had me shaking my head, and it's something that Rob Thomson has done. Now, let me just start off by saying I think Rob Thompson's a really, really good manager. There's not a ton to complain about because you just look at the Phillies' success throughout his tenure as manager. It's really good. It's consistent playoff appearances. You had a World Series run. You went to the National League Championship Series. Like, not a ton that I can sit there and go like, man, like he's really slacking on this, especially compared to like previous managers. I mean, Gabe Kapler just was in way over his head. Ryan Sandberg was horrible, but that doesn't mean that even the best managers aren't impervious to some hiccups, and they have something that they can change about their game that would probably improve the team. And there was two immediate thoughts that I had when it came to Rob Thomson changing this Phillies team to make them even better. It's not like the Phillies are a bad team. I mean, I expect them to make the playoffs, but no, and to his credit, I think before the season I would have said here's three things. But he fixed the one thing, and that was getting Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot, which I made a video about why that argument was dumb for years. It's still dumb. And shockingly, Kyle Schwarber is actually being productive, not in the leadoff spot. Who would have thunk it? But here's the thing in the genesis of this that really spurred this video on, was the Phillies are nursing a 2-1 lead going into the eighth inning. They had just taken the lead. Probably would have been 3-1, but I think Mason Wynn made an incredible throw to home plate. They gunned down Bryce to stop. Fine. So you got a 2-1 lead. You just got the lead. And they go to the bullpen in the eighth inning. And who comes out? Jose Alvarado, their best reliever. Now, this isn't really the best time to make this argument because he didn't pitch all that great. In fact, he didn't even get through the eighth inning. They had to bring Ryan Kerkering in to finish off the job. But this argument is going to be true today. It's going to be true tomorrow. It's going to be true a week from now, a month from now. It's going to be true years from now. That Jose Alvarado, as it currently stands, is your best reliever by far. It's not close. It is Jose Alvarado, Matt Strahm, and shit. It's that clip from Moneyball. Here's the Yankees. Here's everybody else. And here's 50 piles of shit in there. That's the Phillies bullpen right now. And yet, you're throwing Jose Alvarado out there in the eighth inning in a one-run game with a doubleheader going, so you cooked him. You're not going to bring him in game two if you're up. I don't know who they're going to bring in if they're in a safe situation, but I would assume you're not going to bring him in. I don't think he threw a ton of pitches, but still, you're not. So the Phillies are able to get out of it. And who do they bring in? Jordan Romano, who's been horrible. Now, again, not the best time to make this argument because Jordan Romano got through the inning. He gets the save. He got the save the last time. But here's my crux. Here's my problem with Rob Thomson. He has never, ever, ever, except one time, named a closer for this baseball team. And the one time was a future Hall of Famer in Craig Kimbrell. To the point where, like, if you didn't name him closer, you would have looked real dumb. But it seems like every year, the Phillies are having to go out and search for a closer at the deadline, for bullpen help at the deadline, because we sit there as fans and go, they don't have a closer. And they don't have a closer because Rob Thomson refuses to name a closer. Now, baseball is the ultimate creature of habit sport. You can ask any former player that played in the major leagues, and I'm basing this off of Ricky Pitalico, who was a closer for the Phillies for years, but you can ask any of them. They like to know where they are. They like to know where they stand. They like to know if this happens, I'm going to play. If this doesn't happen, I'm not going to play. You get the idea. They're the ultimate creature of habit sport. So the fact that Rob Thomson continues to go this bullpen by committee bullshit, it's eventually going to bite them in the ass. Just name your best pitcher, your best reliever, your closer. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, if he implodes, okay, move him out. The good thing about Jose Alvarado is you know pretty quickly if he doesn't have his stuff. But Jose Alvarado has the mindset to be a closer. And forcing Jordan Romano in there, to me, a square peg round hole at this point. Jordan Romano might have a good start or two, or a good appearance or two, but he's cooked. He's absolutely cooked. And we all know what they're going to be looking for at the deadline. Because they've been looking for the same thing at the deadline for like 4 years now. Outfield help and bullpen help. And other than that, this team doesn't have a lot of holes. But the second problem I have with Rob Thomson is the catcher. The catcher who will be starting at catcher coming up in game number 2, JT Realmuto. So I have made the argument for years now that Rob Thomson has been driving JT Realmuto into the ground. And that is why come August, September, and October, when the games matter most, JT Realmuto looks a shell of himself. It's why JT Realmuto currently kind of looks like a shell of himself. We cling to this hope that he's still the best catcher in baseball, knowing full well he's not. Because Rob Thomson has driven this dude into the ground by having JT Realmuto start the most innings and play the most innings behind the plate out of anybody. And it's not even close. It is a wide, wide margin. When you look up at the stats, it is, again, JT Realmuto, everybody else playing behind the plate. And that takes a toll on your knees, which hinders your ability to hit. It's a slippery slope. So Rob Thomson actually came out before the season and said, I'm going to look at different ways to approach JT Realmuto. And I was like, thank God. Been calling for that for years. Has it happened? No, hasn't. I think JT Realmuto's played in 35 of 42 games. Okay, so if I have my numbers correct, 35 of 42. If he's played in 35 games, he has started behind the plate 34 of them. He has played DH one time. You're talking about a guy who has played first base before, who can DH and play catcher. Your first baseman can DH and play right field. You don't really have a left fielder because Brandon Marsh is trash and Max Kepler ain't it. So, I don't know. Am I crazy here to say, like, hey, for a start or two, throw JT Realmuto at first base? Throw Bryce in the outfield? Throw Nick Castellanos either at the DH spot or left field? Maybe I'm nuts. But there's a way to make it work for a game or two where you're not consistently having JT Realmuto back there driving his knees further into the ground in games in April and May and June, so that when the games matter most, he's up there hitting 245, 235, looking like an easy out. He has played the second most innings behind the plate so far this season, only behind Keibert Ruiz. And when today's over, when this ends, barring an injury and assuming that he gets through 9 innings, he will have taken over the lead. I'm kind of dumbfounded by this. It doesn't seem like that difficult of an idea here. It's the most demanding position in all of baseball, and all you've done since you've taken over is start this guy only at that position. Never DH, it seems like. Definitely never at first base. It's catcher, 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 and nothing else. He can play other positions. You took him from one of the best catchers in baseball, if not the best catcher in baseball, to he's okay. He's got a really good arm. And that's what he is now. And you cannot convince me it is not because of his workload behind the plate. Of course he's going to want to play. Have him play DH. Have him play first base. This is ridiculous. Again, to his credit, those are 2 complaints that I have about Rob Thomson. Everything else, gravy. If I really wanted to nitpick, it's the fact that we all know come playoff time, they're going to act like Aaron Nola's number 2 when he's not. Okay, whatever. Is that Rob Thomson? Is that the organization trying to justify a bad $27 million contract? Probably that. But I think if Rob Thomson were to change this, give JT Realmuto more days off, name a solidified closer, come out in the media and say, Jose Alvarado is our closer, or hell, even Jordan Romano is our closer until further notice, it would do a world of good for this team. But having this okay, we're going to look at matchups, and all right, Romano, you're in the 7th, and Alvarado, you're in the 8th today, but tomorrow you'll be closing out. I don't think it's a long-term solution. And I think you're going to end up looking for bullpen help when in reality, you have the answer already in your bullpen. Do you need setup guys? Absolutely, because this bullpen is bad. But I don't think you need a closer. I think Alvarado is your closer. So that's it. What about you guys? Do you guys have any complaints with Rob Thomson out there? If so, leave them in the comment section. Am I way off base? Do you agree? In a lot of ways, I'm looking for webbed toes on Margot Robbie because this team is really, really good. But these two arguments will never cease to annoy the ever-loving shit out of me because they should have a closer. They have a closer. They refuse to name a closer. And they have a catcher that will once again, if he finishes the season out healthy, will finish the season leading all of Major League Baseball catchers in innings behind the plate. And we all know what's going to happen in October. Hey, but go Phillies!